February 26th, Juche 111, 2022. I'm sorry, I'm young. Youth, just calling you quietly makes my heart flutter. The most valuable time of life, when you tirelessly run towards your hopes and goals with your blood-boiling passion and gushing youth. People often miss and often remember their useful days when they boasted of their youth, even in the twilight period, with hoarfrost on their heads, because it is a precious springtime and flowery season that never comes again. However, the calling of youth is not called as a symbol of dreams, hopes, and passions everywhere by anyone. Looking around the world, there are not many people who are afraid of youth itself. I still can't forget the story of Sorry Youth, which was once published in a magazine in South Korea. I'm Sorry is a story about a poor young man who left a will and chose suicide at a young age. He had been preparing for the civil service exam after graduating from college with the dream of life. But it was a bitter disappointment to have him turn in a South Korean society where only fierce competition for survival exists. However, he could not disappoint his family members who looked at him, so he comforted them with an unintentional lie that he passed the exam and said that he had gone to work. Fake work. What was his mood at that time? For almost a year, he struggled in the guilt of deceiving his family and in the pain of not having a job, desperately hoping for a helping hand. All that was left was the fear and despair of youth. In the end, he was deprived of his future and suffered from poverty, and he could not bear it any longer. So he left a suicide note containing the tragedy of youth and made an extreme choice. How can this be the tragic fate of a young man? I'm sorry, I'm young. The heartbreaking complaints of sorry, that they are sorry for not getting a job and that they can't get out of the swamp of regret even if they get a job, and the bitter curse of many young people who threw their youthful lives into the river of luxury. I want to hear it in my ears too. There are not many people who have been talking about some kind of youth politics in South Korea over the fictional years, but the unfortunate situation of the young people has not changed since then. On the contrary, the youth unemployment procession is increasing and the tragedy of youth continues. In a nutshell, among the youth of South Korea, the phrase, "I'd rather be young or not," has become a buzzword and calls themselves the Lee Sang-mang and Ryo Chul generation. The tragic reality of young people who are supposed to sing beautiful youth and dream of the future suffer from extreme fear of youth and have to give up their lives and even sacrifice their souls. The time has come when we should boast of our youth because we have the life our parents gave us. But on the contrary, the rotten and diseased South Korean society, where youth becomes a burden and a sin, is a hellish world that tramples upon and takes away the life of youth. I'm sorry, who have become the object of contempt and contempt in the South Korean society, and countless young people who choose to commit suicide because they have lost their youth and become the premature twilight generation, are still screaming like this. I'm sorry, I'm young. PETA's cry for the cursed South Korean society is shaking the dark land. Research Fellow at the Academy of Social Sciences.